Arab billionaire mocked the CEO at chess, until single dad 6-year-old spoke Arabic. The boardroom had gone completely silent, not the comfortable kind of silence that settles after a productive meeting, but the sharp, suffocating kind that follows humiliation. Marcus Webb, CEO of a mid-sized renewable energy firm, sat across a mahogany table from Sheikh Tariq Al-Rashidi, one of the wealthiest men in the Arabian Gulf, and felt the walls closing in. The chess board between them told the whole story. Marcus had lost. Again. For the third time in 30 minutes. And Sheikh Tariq hadn't even looked up from his phone between moves. "You lead a company," the Sheikh said, his voice smooth and almost bored, adjusting a cufflink that probably cost more than Marcus's car, "but you cannot think 3 moves ahead. Tell me, how do you survive in business?" His 2 associates chuckled softly near the window. Marcus's assistant, Sandra, standing at the door with her tablet, looked down at the floor. The janitor, a quiet, broad-shouldered man named Daniel Reyes, had paused in the hallway just outside, pretending to check his equipment cart, unable to leave because his 6-year-old daughter Sofia was sitting on a small chair just behind him, waiting for the end of his shift, her little backpack on her lap and a worn paperback chess book open across her knees. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the kind of moments that remind us why being human matters, like this video, drop a comment below, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Stories like this one exist because of you. Marcus straightened his tie and forced a calm smile. He was 41 years old, a single father, a man who had rebuilt his life from near bankruptcy after his wife left, who had learned to braid his daughter's hair on YouTube tutorials at midnight, who packed Sofia's lunch every morning and still made it to the office before anyone else. He was not a man who broke easily. But today, in front of the one investor who could save his company, his funding deal, and the jobs of 63 employees, he was dangerously close to breaking. "Sheikh Tariq," Marcus said carefully, "I respect your assessment. But the deal I'm proposing isn't about chess. It's about clean energy for 300,000 homes and a 22% return on your investment within." "I do not invest in men who cannot think strategically," the Sheikh interrupted flatly, finally setting down his phone and leaning back with the casual confidence of someone who had never once doubted his own authority. "Chess reveals the mind. Your mind, Mr. Webb, is reactive. Emotional. You see only the piece in front of you." He gestured toward the board with 2 fingers. "Reset it. One more game. If you cannot challenge me this time, we have nothing further to discuss." Sandra caught Marcus's eye from the doorway and gave a tiny, helpless shrug. Marcus looked at the board. He looked at his hands. He thought about Sofia, who would be waiting for him in the hallway, who had eaten cereal for dinner 4 nights this week because he'd been working late, who had fallen asleep last Thursday still wearing her backpack because she'd waited up for him. He thought about the 63 people whose health insurance depended on this deal closing. He reached out and began resetting the pieces. That was when they heard the small voice. The queen should go on her own color. Everyone turned. Standing just inside the doorway, having slipped past Sandra with the fearless, oblivious confidence that only very small children possess, was Sofia Reyes. She was 6 years old, dark-haired, gap-toothed, wearing a yellow raincoat she hadn't taken off since school, and she was pointing directly at the chessboard with a tiny finger, her expression completely serious. Daniel appeared instantly behind her, mortified, reaching for her shoulder. "Sofia, sweetheart, I am so sorry, sir," Sofia, come here right now." But Sheikh Tariq had raised one hand, and the room obeyed it. He was looking at the little girl with an expression no one in that room had ever seen on his face before. Curiosity. Real curiosity. "You play chess?" he asked. Sofia looked up at him without an ounce of intimidation. "My Baba taught me," she said, climbing uninvited into the chair across from the Sheikh as though she had been expected. "He says chess is like talking. You have to listen more than you speak." There was a beat of stunned silence. Sheikh Tariq Al-Rashidi, a man who had sat across tables from prime ministers and kings, blinked. Then, slowly, the corner of his mouth moved. "Your father said this?" Every night before bed, Sofia said simply, beginning to arrange the pieces with small, certain hands. "We play until I fall asleep. Sometimes I win." She looked up at him with dark, earnest eyes. "Do you want to play with me?" The Sheikh's associates exchanged glances. Sandra had stopped breathing. Marcus had gone completely still. And then Sheikh Tariq Al-Rashidi did something that would be whispered about in that building for years. He leaned forward, rested his elbows on the mahogany table, and said, in Arabic, *Khalas. Haya bint Shatter. Enough. She is a clever girl. The silence that followed was different from every silence that had come before it. Because Sofia Reyes, 6 years old, in a yellow raincoat with a gap-toothed smile, looked up from the chessboard and replied, in careful, accented but unmistakable Arabic, *Shukran, Ami. Baba, Alamni. Thank you, uncle. My father taught me. The Sheikh froze. One of his associates actually took a step forward. Daniel Reyes, standing in the doorway with a hand still outstretched toward his daughter, felt the tears come before he could stop them, because yes, he had taught her. During the long, lonely evenings after Sofia's mother left. During the months when money was so tight he'd learn chess from free online videos so he'd have something to give his daughter that didn't cost anything. He had whispered Arabic phrases to her like lullabies because he'd read that children absorb language like water, and because he wanted to give her something beautiful, something that might open doors for her that had never opened for him. Sheikh Tariq sat back slowly. He looked at the little girl. He looked at Daniel in the doorway, this quiet, working man in blue coveralls with a name tag that said Janitor and eyes full of love and exhaustion and pride. He looked at Marcus Webb, who was also a father, who had also been surviving on fumes and hope. And something shifted in the Sheikh's face, something old and guarded moved aside to make room for something he hadn't felt in a boardroom in a very long time. "Your daughter," he said to Daniel quietly, in English now, "she is extraordinary." "I know," Daniel said, his voice barely holding. "She's everything." Sheikh Tariq was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to Marcus. "Mr. Webb. I will review your proposal again. Tonight. With fresh eyes." He looked back at Sofia, who had patiently waited and was now sliding a pawn forward 2 spaces with a look of absolute concentration. "It seems I have been reminded that strategy is not only about what you see on the board. It is also about what you have built when no one is watching. If this story moved something in your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that goodness still exists, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more stories that restore your faith in people. Every share carries this story to someone who might need it today. The game between Sofia and the Sheikh lasted 20 minutes. She didn't win, but she made him work for every move, and twice she made him pause and reconsider, and once she made him laugh, a real laugh, quiet and surprised. The funding deal was signed 3 weeks later. Daniel was offered a facilities management position at twice his salary, which he accepted on the condition that he could still leave by 5 to pick up Sofia from school. And every now and then, in the late afternoon light, if you walked past a certain corner office on the 14th floor, you might see a small yellow raincoat hanging on the back of a chair, and hear the soft sound of chess pieces on a board, and a father's voice, patient and low, teaching his daughter to think 3 moves ahead. Drop a red heart in the comments if you believe the most powerful thing a parent can give a child isn't money, it's time, love, and the belief that they are enough.